I click through a screen. I come back and I see that the stream's over. I see you guys are all like leaving, and I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even know I was off. Yeah. I'm using Starlink. I'm on Starlink, unobstructed view to space. This only happens when large earthquakes hit, by the way, just so everybody knows. My YouTube channel just got hit with I just posted it. It's ad ineligibility. They've now demonetized my live stream. Yeah. They just hit my live stream and I posted screenshots of it. You can go over and check it on my community page or on my Facebook page, because I can't post it on X because my X account was shut down. Lifetime ban from X. No explanation. People say, I thought you supported Musk and Trump. I do. I voted for Trump in 2016, 2020, 2024. I bought a dark MAGA hat. I don't know why they don't like me, other than they've got big oil under their belt and they're getting ready to totally go gangbusters on fracking. Or maybe it's because I found the earthquake down below Donald Trump's golf course that no one's willing to talk about. The 5.0 and down, never mind. 5.0 struck below Trump's golf course. Nobody's willing to talk about it. I'm the only person. I think that got me in trouble. Seriously. Have you heard anybody else talking about it? Chat, right now. How many people are in here? 1,000 people? Okay. How many of you have heard anybody over the last year talking about the earthquake swarm that started below Donald Trump's golf course at White House Station, New Jersey, Bedminster, the Bedminster DeLorean Golf Club 5.0 earthquake, the biggest in 10 years for the whole East Coast, struck below his golf course directly. Then, over the course of months, spread from the golf course over to Hell Mountain Preserve. I've showed it in 20 different videos now. I sent it to everyone. I sent it to Dabu. I sent it to Big Solar. I sent it to everybody. Okay, the video. I tagged everybody. I put everybody in it. I even sent it to Alex Jones. Okay, now who covered it? Who talked about the earthquake below Donald Trump's golf course? No one. It wasn't on the media. Not even MSNBC. Not even CNN. I'm like, oh shit! What did I just find? A 5.0 earthquake. How could everybody miss it? It shook up. Even New York City felt it. Yet no one decided to go look up the epicenter and find out that there's Trump's golf course. I'm thinking, guess what? Guess what showed up in the last week next to Trump's golf course and the earthquake epicenter in New Jersey? Giant mystery drones, which they're calling UAP or UFOs, unidentified aerial phenomenon or unidentified flying objects. And they're saying they're car-sized drones in New Jersey, right next to Trump's golf course, right next to where the earthquakes are. And no one's willing to talk about Trump's golf course? I voted for Trump. Dude, there's some weird shit going on here. No shit. So, it's not like I've got friends on either side. So Zuck doesn't like me. Bezos doesn't like me. Gates doesn't like me. I know they don't. I'm 100% on this now. We know for certain those guys don't like me. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace doesn't like me. They wrote a hit piece on me, tying me to China. Carnegie said me and my group are tied to China. Now, the problem is that China, I don't... Oh, you didn't know? Oh, yeah, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace came after me. You want to see? Here, hold on. Look at the screen. You're not going to believe this. This is insane. This is hilarious, but it's sad because this is me. Look, CarnegieEndowment.org. The UN, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. And what does this have to do with Dutchsince? Look at this. Whoops. There it is. They said the Dutchsince Facebook group is the origin, and they have it in a flowchart put together by AI of Chinese agents coming from WeChat in China. And who's the first person on the list? Me. Before all the mainstream media, before all the alternative media, who's the first group they say is listing this? This is COVID now. They're trying to say that I'm the story, the origin of the COVID AIDS story. The problem is that I'm not. This is the COVID AIDS story was months old at the point that this thing was even done. It's so weird that they put me in here, right? Like they obviously put Dutchsince in this Carnegie Endowment disinformation article linking me with China as a way to try to pigeonhole me with China. I've never talked to anybody in China in my life, for real. Or maybe I have, but they were speaking English because I didn't know that they were Chinese. In other words, this is insane, dude. Carnegie Endowment. What? Globalist New World Order. Tell me it doesn't exist. You guys are freaking insane. If you say it doesn't exist, you're freaking nuts. You're just nuts. If you say that kind of shit doesn't exist, it's a conspiracy theory that there's some global freaking conspiracy to stop stuff. Yeah, you just don't know. Sorry, I can't take you serious because you just didn't know. It's like sci-fi thriller enemy of the state level, like. Okay. Right? How do you explain it? How do you explain international organizations smearing me being tied to China? Yeah, you know me, the big outlet for COVID information. I mean, like, what did I do during lockdown? I was breeding cannabis. During lockdown, I wasn't even around. I was literally breeding weed for 2 years, working on a hemp farm. Seriously, they had just legalized here in Missouri, and I got involved with cannabis breeding and bred 25 different strains of cannabis in 2020 to 2023. I wasn't doing shit online. I was literally sitting here not even talking to anybody. Oh, man, they got me all wrong. This whole thing is jacked. I wish I would have never discovered earthquake forecasting, quite frankly. I've said it several times, and I really mean it. My life would be so much better, and you guys, screw it. You know, it's not like I'm ever going to meet you. The only thing I care about are the babies and animals at this point. Damn it. I should play some punk rock music and just mosh around my office and break everything in here for a little while. And my wife will wonder what's happening. She'll be like, oh, another day at the office, is it? I'm like, yes, this place sucks. Jumping off my desk. You guys want to listen to some punk? Now it's all copyrighted. The irony of that. Ah, man. Bizarro world I live in. I'm the only one who's still left sane. It's a sad day when Dutchsince is the sane one and you guys are all the crazies. All right. I've spoken myself in the third person. I guess that's not looking too well for me. But all right. So music, you guys want some music? Let's do some music. I can remix some stuff. We'll play some 80s. We'll jam some music. I'll play stuff that I know YouTube won't bounce me for because I'm going to be mixing it myself for real. If it sucks, it's because I'm mixing it. That's why. All right? Peace out, guys.
I like Dutchsince, the last name Dutchsince, the bodyguard. I won't black, well, bulletproof vest. Don't smoke Buddha, can't stand sex, yes. Get out to the funky beat. Get out to the funky beat. Funky beat. Get out to the funky beat. Get out to the funky beat. Funky beat. Get out to the funky beat. Get out to the funky beat. But this jazz retains a new.
And I'm still
maternity homes and care and bed pillow. I contacted the My Pillow people today, just by chance. I sent them an actual email. I reached out to them to see if they'd be willing to donate pillows and blankets to the mother's maternity home charity that I donate to, that helps women keep their babies. And if they choose to keep their babies, they offer maternity homes and care and clothing and food and everything for women who are disadvantaged and it might otherwise maybe give up on their pregnancy. And they offer them services. And so I give to them. And I saw on their wish list for this year, they had pillows and blankets. And I'm like, dude, I'm so contacting My Pillow guy because I've already bought a few My Pillows, See if he'd be willing to match me. That's what I asked. I'm not asking for a huge, thousands of pillows or anything. I just wrote them and I said, hey, I've got a charity I'm going to be donating to. I'm probably going to buy about 10 or 15 pillows. And would you be willing to match me and send 30 pillows instead of 10 or 15 for the babies, We'll see if they respond. If they don't, I even put it in there. I'm like, if you don't respond, that's fine. I just was reaching out to ask, see if you guys be willing to match me on whatever I'm willing to give to this charity. The charity I've already shared today. It's on my YouTube page. It's called Our Ladies Inn, and it's here in St. Louis area. But they have stuff. You guys can find stuff. I encourage my viewers to do this. If you don't like giving to the charities that I select, dude, totally go find one in your area. Not trying to pressure you or anything, tell you what to do, I get people who criticize me. They're like, why would I want to give? And I'm like, what? Why would you want to give? Other people come over, they're like, they're a Catholic charity. You Catholic? I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize I was just helping the mothers. I didn't even, I'm like, I know they're Christian, whoops. Sorry, I'll find the Carl Sagan donating society to. Where's the Carl Sagan orphanage, for crying out loud, you damn atheist? You guys are all rich and loaded. Where's your damn Carl Sagan orphanage? I'd hate to see what happens there, though, so you better have some moralists to go in there to freaking teach the kids how to live. Last thing you need is Hawking coming in there to teach people how to live, right? Okay. What else is going on? Oh, I'm a real smart guy. A smart ass, I mean. I never said I was smart. I said I was smart ass. Okay. It's good to see you all here. We're, of course, jamming some music, but we're really killing time. We've got the earthquakes on stream, but I have had such problems today, all of a sudden, out of the blue, that the only thing missing now is a power outage on a nice clear day like today, right? I swear, if my power goes out, I'm going to freak, dude. Okay. Hey, fun story if you guys want to see something fun. A couple of weeks ago, my wife and I are sitting here. We live out here in the middle of nowhere in the country. And we're here. It's daytime. It's towards the evening. And we thought a car was driving down our driveway with no muffler on. The loudest ever. And then it turns out it's an airplane. And it flew over at 500 feet. Under 1,000 feet, above 500 feet, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 feet. It's a dual prop airplane, belongs to a company out of Canada. I jumped on to ADS Exchange to see who this asshole is that's flying over my house solo out here in the country. Turns out it's a U.S. government-hired VLF, earth-penetrating tomography, look-into-the-ground airplane that took off from central Missouri and flew straight here and flew directly over my house, made a U-turn over our lake, and flew back to central Missouri and landed. And I got the whole thing on ADS Exchange, Flight Exchange, and I've got a video on my channel showing them flying over my house, doing a VLF measurement, looking down into my fucking house and down below it and around it to see if I've got any kind of hidden chambers, any kind of hidden stuff in my basement, any kind of hidden stuff, subterranean stuff. That's what they use those planes for, is earth-penetrating tomography. And they only flew to my house and only flew over my house. And that was 2 weeks ago here in St. Louis. I wrote my senator about it, got no response. Canadian company called EON. They hired an out-of-country company to do it. Those scumbags, in order to avert U.S. FISA court warrants and all the other things, they just go hire a foreign company to do it. So help me, and it's on video. It's on my channel. You can even look up the tail number on the plane. Yeah, crop dusting. Right. Yeah. No, the company EON, they specialize in VLF, earth magnetic tomography. The chances of having a VLF plane buzz my house at 500 feet is impossible. It's literally statistically impossible because I'm the VLF guy, right? I mean, geez. EON, yeah, look it up. EON, earth penetrating tomography, a VLF, electromagnetic gradient surveys, not LiDAR, not just surface, not just, taking the laser and looking and seeing your trees. They're looking down into the ground. And what that also does is look through the walls of your house and through your structure and through your basement and below your basement. Oh, wow. You just can't make this stuff up, man. I'm the VLF guy. They made a movie about me, in case you didn't know. Lou Diamond Phillips plays me, Michael. Oh, ding-a-dong again, huh? Lou Diamond Phillips. It's called Metal Tornado. It's about, the movie is quality-wise, it's about equal to Sharknado. So just be prepared for more like a sci-fi TV show than a movie. But Lou Diamond Phillips plays me, Michael, the discoverer of HAARP-created tornadoes. And they took a painstaking amount of time in this movie to animate the HAARP facility up in Alaska. And Michael, in the movie, figures out that HAARP is creating tornadoes. Sound familiar? That's what I discovered. And they also worked in stuff from my childhood. They worked in where my wife and I grew up, Claymont, and they worked in Fairview, where our first house was. They have me team up with a geology professor, and in the movie, Michael figures out that the tornadoes are following electromagnetic field lines coming out of the earth with iron ore veins coming out of the earth. And that at the end of the movie, Michael raises his glass and says cheers, and then the movie literally cuts to black and ends. Right at the end, Michael signs off by saying cheers. That's the way I used to do all my old videos, and sign off on all my old videos. Anyway, they got Lou Diamond Phillips playing me. And the movie is still out there. I think you can even still buy it somewhere. No, I didn't get any royalties. At the very end, they put a bullshit disclaimer that rolls by that says, none of these events are based on any real individuals in real life. Any similarities are just by chance. Freaking assholes. I said freaking. Metal tornado, yeah. Michael, the discoverer of HAARP-created tornadoes, Claymont, Fairview. Oh, and the first guy to get hit in the movie, the first person to get hit is a guy cutting trees in the woods. And it picks up his chainsaw and carves an X in his helmet or something, and it barely misses him, and he lives. But now, in case you don't know, when I started on YouTube, man, they're really blowing me up. I'm going to turn this off. They're obviously, come on, how you get, I don't go weeks without text messages. I start talking and all of a sudden I get text messages. The phone's obviously picking up on my words. But long story short, the movie is pretty cheesy, but it is about my discovery of HAARP-created tornadoes. And the only thing they didn't work in was my wife. Instead, they worked in one of my moderators. Okay, yeah, they carved an X into the helmet, into the forehead of his helmet. The weird thing is, the people who wrote the movie, their other movie lineup, like the only things that they've ever made before my movie and after are complete guts, gore, horror. Disgusting guts, gore, horror. And one of the guys went on to go start a porn thing. So, like, the people who made the movie about me are not good people, obvious. They just grifted on the topic and my name and where I'm from and used all the bits of my life and didn't pay me. It happens. It happens. It happened to me. Go watch the movie. I mean, come on. Again, I'm Mike. I'm the discoverer of harp-created tornadoes. I grew up in Claymont with my wife. Our first house was on Fairview Avenue. I cut trees for a living before I started on YouTube, right up until 2012, till a year after I was on YouTube. I was still doing tree cutting. And then at all my videos, I signed off at the end with cheers. That's all in the movie. Ah, yes. Metal Tornado. We could play it. I could play it. I could definitely play it on my... What are they going to do? Go ahead. Take me to court. I'll copyright, schmoppyright, whatever. The movie's about me. I'll put it to a jury of peers. Let them decide if it's about me or not. By the time you get to the part where it's like cheers and, oh, and he teams up with the geology professor. All right, dude. You're like, man, dude, you really knew every detail of my life. Like, the amount of work that goes into that alone is pretty crazy. Speaking of crazy, I could tell you more stories. You don't want to hear them, though. Let's do some music and move on. In case you aren't aware, a large earthquake has struck on the west coast of the United States. And we are waiting now for Southern California to start moving. Let's see, most likely up to 5.5 in Southern California. We're also waiting for Texas in the next several days for this to happen, so it could take a few days. Usually it's not that long. After you see something like this on the West Coast, you tend to see movement within days. Afterwards, going down to the south and over to the east. And there's the 7, and we're going to look down in Southern California, down by Salton Sea, for up to 5.5 and a swarm. We're also going to look for a 5 in Texas. 4's east of there, and then another possible 5 on the east coast. Virginia, D.C., somewhere in that area. West Pacific, we should see significant activity this week, similar in size to what's going on in the East Pacific in the United States. Now, people were weighing in on this. They said, Dutch, with all your shutdowns, do I think that maybe something weird is going on with the earthquake? Well, it's happened enough, the shutdowns, with when a large earthquake hits and I get my stream gets cut, my live stream, my internet goes down, my computer goes off. Okay. It's happened enough for 15 years at this point that I know for certain that it's some group or agency that has authority over this, and they're doing that to shut it down. So I don't think there's anything weird about the earthquake. I think their response is weird, but I can't talk to anybody about it. That's what they've chosen to do on each large earthquake that hits, is to shut down people like me who talk about it so they can focus all the people to their people. Okay, gatekeeping is what the main goal of that is, I think. But is there anything weird about the quake? I mean, unless somebody detonated a giant nuke out there, and it would take a giant nuke to do this. Kim Jong-un's nukes made 5.0 level activity, so it would take a huge detonation to make something this big. So, and detonations look different than earthquakes on seismograph. Read on the actual graph charts. It looked different. So it is an earthquake. I don't think there's anything weird about it. It's a little bit bigger than what we were looking for, about a half magnitude bigger. Maybe a magnitude bigger than what we were looking for. We were looking for 6.0, 6.5, and instead we get a 7, slightly bigger. But when you see all the other deep earthquakes that are hammering off on the West Pacific, the ones that are raised high off the planet today, for instance, or go back yesterday, they're in pink. Go back the days before that, they're in red. That's a lot of deep earthquake activity. When there's a bunch of deep earthquakes, we usually see shallower, larger earthquakes around the Pacific. It's just like a basic form of earthquake forecasting is that you see a bunch of deep earthquakes down below a plate, to watch around that plate for something to happen up above the deep earthquakes. It's like if a bunch of people were downstairs in the basement pushing on the rafters and the ceiling, that it might cause movement up above, or at least you might hear it or feel vibration above. And the same thing can happen with the deep earthquakes. A bunch of deep earthquakes letting us know something's coming up, and then we have to figure out where it's going to come up, and you can then watch the spreads of earthquakes spread over towards the spot that just got hit, for instance. I mean, really, if you look at the spot that just got hit over the last day, down to the south, equidistantly spaced fives. Up to the north, equidistantly spaced fives. Sandwiched in the middle, in between, but you have to really go and plan it away to see how it's the middle. The middle between here and here is here. If we go around the bends of the plate, you go up, around, down, and over. This is the middle between all this and all this. And it just broke. But you have to look on a scale that is a wave that is thousands of miles long, 10,000 miles long. And it's equidistantly spacing earthquakes across an unequal surface. So it's not an even wave tank where they're perfectly spaced out like in a wave tank. We're talking about this wave is following the plate boundaries, which are all curved and twisted and broken. But still the middle points are being hit between the previous waves. It's some kind of standing wave that's spreading through the plates. I'm getting real sciencey on the standing wave talk. A lot of people won't know what I'm talking about there. But think of a wave going through a pool, and then somebody jumps in and starts making more waves in the pool. And then you have two people that are making waves in a pool, and those waves start going back and forth. You ever see this happen in a pool where two people get on their raft or they start splashing and they're doing it the right timing, and the wave starts reflecting off the walls of the pool and coming back towards them? And then the wave starts to build and it spreads across the whole pool. It knocks people off their rafts and, whatever makes huge standing waves in the pool. And if you keep jumping up and down on your raft and making the waves, if you're in an above ground pool, the sides will collapse. The actual power of the waves will wipe out the sides of the pool if it's an above ground pool. And if you're in an in-ground pool, the water starts splashing up out of the pool itself. To escape, the energy to escape, the water physically is escaping out of the pool by coming up out of waves. Well, simply put, this is happening down in the plates down below. The wave effect. And then it causes the earthquakes. So we found the force that causes earthquakes. We don't have a name for it yet. I'll have to name it. QLF, quake low frequency. It's some kind of low frequency that's spaced out across thousands of miles between peaks. And then the middle points, it reflects into itself and builds into a standing wave. And it gets greater when it reflects into itself. The combined energy of two waves on either side, combining and sloshing back and forth, then focus back in on themselves. And boom, we get a bigger quake in the middle where it was reflecting back and forth between the two to begin with. The distance is from Alaska to Central America, for instance. So very, very awesome. Oh, what do we have going on here? Thank you. Duchess has brought me fresh coffee in here, guys. She's aware of the situation. You know what? When I got shut down earlier, I got angry. I started swearing in the office, but I come out and I put on a little smile. But she heard me swearing. And she goes, "What happened?" Because she wasn't watching. And I'm like, well, I go, right while I was talking, I had the most live viewers ever on my stream ever. 12,000 people were in here on my live. Earthquake 3D died. She goes, "What?" I go, "I know. It just went black." She goes, "What?" I go, "I know. The graphic, my arrow graphic just went away." And she goes, "Well, did you restart it?" And I go, "Yeah." And I go, "Restarted it. Earthquake 3D wouldn't open." And then when it finally loaded, it loaded blank. And all my viewers saw it live. She goes, "What?" And I go, "Now guess what?" And she looks at me. I go, "Starlink's off now." She goes, "Oh my God." And I go, "Let me go plug in the other router," because we have our landline. I plug in the landline and it's blinking. It's not working either. So our landline is out, our cable fiber. And then Starlink goes out while I'm live. And my wife is like, "Oh my God," and I'm flabbergasted because I'm, trying to talk to the most people that I've ever had on my live stream, which is a big accomplishment for me to reach that many people. or whatever shitheads out there sitting there with a dial hitting the off button. Apparently there is an off button. I can't believe it. There's really an off button. Is there a dial too? I mean, imagine there's some kind of like slider. It's like it's like a DJ's mixer board with a bunch of dials, and there's some shithead in camouflage sitting there in a troll farm ran by the government, turning it up and down. I can't believe that's actually real, but apparently it is. Or is it AI doing it? DJ AI. What up, dog? Do you like my bitching? Some people don't, some people do. The point is I've had to do it enough that I've gotten pretty damn good at it. Okay, let's get the music going. I hope you're smiling like I am, because I can smile while I'm doing this. It's not like I'm crying, guys. I'm sitting here drinking a cup of coffee. I've got an unsmoked blunt in one hand that I can't do because of propriety on stream. And I'm going to play some music for you. If you want to hate, all good. I get it. Hard times all around. People need to let out the hate. But don't hate the player. Hate the game. Much love, guys. Much love. You like that? You like don't hate the player, hate the game? Okay, you're going to remember that? Okay. Somebody just said something about me. Like I got a message. I get a little message and it said, I thought you were conservative. Why are you smoking? Are you kidding me? Somebody doesn't know. Somebody, you want to tell this lady? I want to tell her? Who wants to tell her? Who wants to break the news to her, right? Like, I hate to break it to you, lady, but every freaking conservative you're seeing there probably has a freaking dugout in their freaking, or did or know someone who does. Turns out that crosses all party lines. There's one thing we can all agree on. That's why they've kept it illegal. It's the one thing we would all get along on for the most part. Everybody be like, oh, okay, I know somebody. Oh, my brother is too. Oh, my sister is. Oh. Yeah, they're all a bunch of freaking flaming hippies, aren't they? I put on my Birkenstocks and my tie-dye shirt. You guys will mistake me for a liberal. It's perfect. I can go blend right in. Nobody will mess with me. Keep my MAGA hat tucked in my back pocket. They'll think it's something else. Put a little Velcro Grateful Dead that's on the front. All right. Look, full of jokes all day long, guys. I'm not here to judge you. I don't care what you believe. Earthquake-wise is what I want you to be concerned about. What good is politics or the other without freaking knowing about earthquakes? You could survive an earthquake, but just by paying attention. Do we want to worry about politics and all the other goofy stuff on weather too? Like, imagine if people did this with the weather. Shut down the weather guy for saying that there's going to be a storm coming in. Well, we have a giant low pressure system out here. It's rolling in from the West Coast. Looks like it's going to be going down to Texas. Off. Sorry, meteorologists have said that there's no relation between the weather on the West Coast and the weather in Texas. Imagine, as I'm watching hurricane forecasts get issued that are like, it's the spaghetti model that goes across half the damn planet from 20 different agencies that are not even from the United States. And none of them gotten the path of the hurricane right. Well, none of the U.S. agencies have gotten the hurricane right. And some European agency is like spot on in its spaghetti model. And I have to sit there and watch them adjust their forecast 2 hours out from when the hurricane's making landfall. And then I'm told that my 7-day forecast that gets it right in many cases is not sufficient for science. Oh, man. You know why? I don't have the initials at the back end of my name. I don't have letters after my name. You know what? If I did have letters after my name, like PhD or MD or whatever, PROF, that it would, or PROF goes in front of your name, doesn't it? Okay, Professor. That it would just be a disaster. I would have learned everything that they would have want me to learn without me learning anything that I discovered, and I would have been precluded from ever discovering it to begin with based upon preconceived false notions taught to me by people who are making proclamations instead of actual scientific declarations. And that's what it is. People proclaimed that earthquakes couldn't be forecast, and I published a method showing you could, and they said they don't want to test it. That was the last that we ever talked to them. Then they called for my arrest, Galileo style. It's good to know we still have the Inquisition. It's just run by a bunch of atheistic Carl. Well, it's not even Carl Sagan wouldn't even do it. He'd roll in his grave if he found out that you guys were trying to call for the arrest of people who were making discoveries that go against something. Even James Randi would be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Yeah, man, look, I published a method. You can test it, James." He'd be like, "What? Where'd you publish it?" I'd be like, "Dude, it's on my YouTube channel, step-by-step method." He'd be like, "What's going on?" He'd be like, "It looks like you might have run into what we call scientific fascism." It does exist. It's a problem still in science. It used to exist back in the Dark Ages when the church did it. Do you guys know what they did to Galileo? They put him under house imprisonment till he died. But do you know what they did to his sister? Do you know what the church and the scientists did to Galileo's sister? This is sad, but hilarious, but sad. They made Galileo's sister join a convent and become a nun. You just can't make this shit up, dude. So I'm here to stand up for Galileo and Tesla, who ended up feeding pigeons off the rooftop as a homeless man. I'm here to put up two giant middle fingers to the National Science Foundation, the known establishment, all the universities, all you fuckers, and freaking just tell you to go outside and play a nice game of hide and go fuck yourselves. Because damn it, dude, they were all right. You were always all wrong. You freaking are going to come back in and say I'm right 100 years after I've been gone, so you don't get held for libel by my family or whoever is my surviving family members. Screw you and the horse you rode in on. Back, by the way, when you guys said that if anybody exceeded 60 miles an hour, their face would tear off from pressure differential from wind. That's why you couldn't have fast cars. Science. You know, they used to say that, right? Couldn't have fast cars because the wind resistance on your face, you know, like when a skydiver is falling really fast and their face is like going in ripples across. Okay, they said that would happen to you if you drove your car too fast and that you would die. And that's why you needed to keep riding horses. It's hilarious, dude. Science. Okay. We could go on about science, man. Trust the science. How about this one? The words trust and science should never be mentioned in the same sentence or paragraph. You know why? There should be no trust involved in science. It should just be is, or is not, is not. There should be no trust involved. If you have to trust something, dude, you're screwed. You're talking about some theoretical or something that's like some variable or something has some wiggle room. I trusted, yeah, no, it's just a fact or not. Now, you can trust on facts, I suppose, but trust the science. Again, you shouldn't use those two terms side by side. It requires belief. Trust requires belief, doesn't it? Science shouldn't require belief. Right? Hey, here's one. Evolution. Evolutionists believe in something called the primordial ooze. Hold on. Look, Christians believe they came from dirt. Atheists believe they came from a rock. It turns out they're not too far apart. And they believe that the primordial ooze came from something. Again, this is a belief. There's no fossil record. There's no evidence of it. You just believe it. They got their own beliefs and they call themselves atheists. It's funny. It's just, you tell them that. You're like, hey, you believe in primordial ooze? They're like, came from Iraq. The ooze. Tell you, man. Bizarre old world. I'm not here to judge you. Do you have an earthquake plan? Do you have an earthquake plan? What good is all this shit if you don't have an earthquake plan and you don't know what to do when an earthquake's coming your way? I've published the method. Yes, I'm a little weird. Yes, I'm a little neurotic, whatever you want to call it. But the method works. You're welcome to test it. You don't even have to mention my name if you're embarrassed of even mentioning me. I don't blame you. But the method, I would suggest learning it. It's pretty basic. It's standing waves spreading out through a tank. And the tanks are the plate boundaries. Once you understand that, you can start doing your own forecasting. And I hope I've contributed something good to the world of geophysics by the discovery that there's some kind of wave that's spreading across the planet and dropping off earthquakes along the way. I'm sorry that it's upset some people who wanted to make a name for themselves, or, people who didn't want me associated with their field. I get it. Again, the idiot savant, right? Like, it can happen. It does. It's fitting. The Bible even says that God would use the fool to confound the wise. I'm a perfect example of that. Okay, anyway, let's get some more music going, shall we? You guys like the music that was going? I'm sorry I'm not the best mixer, but I'm trying to mix in as best as I can using other people's mixes. So I'm a mix master right now, which is another thing I need to add to the list of my Renaissance man existence, where to be okay at everything means you're not good at anything. So thank God I'm good at earthquakes. Much love, guys. I hope you find a humor in all of this along with me. Again, I'm saying all of this with somewhat of a smile and a smirk on my face as I'm drinking my coffee and just thinking about this wild adventure. It's been a saga of sorts. It's been a real adventure over many years doing all this with you guys, for you guys, with you guys. You've seen it along the way. It's been really interesting. I should write a book on all the adventures that have happened as a result of making these discoveries, because the discovery on its own could fit into a pamphlet about 5 pages long on earthquake forecasting. The rest of it is the story of how everyone tried to stop it, basically. Seriously. Oh, it'd be a good movie. Enemy of the State meets Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. Meets 2012 with Woody Harrelson. I'm the limo driver. If Yellowstone ever erupts, I will drive up there and do a live mix while it blows, and just Woody Harrelson right on out there. But yeah, again, I don't call me Woody Harrelson. I'm going to be DJing. I'm not going to be yelling into a microphone. If Yellowstone's going, we're going to be playing some awesome music as we go up in a plume of smoke. But I promise, if Yellowstone ever goes, I'm getting in a Winnebago of some kind, and I'm driving right up to the park to start live mixing. What do you guys want to hear? I just got a message. People are like, when are you going to play music? What do you want to hear? 80s, 90s, 60s? You want to hear 60s? Reggae? You want to hear some reggae? Kind of need that right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's get a little reggae going. Hold on. up into Canada, following the mountain ranges, goes down through Yellowstone, down through central Colorado, following the continent. Reggae jamming tip. 4:50, we were doing a little bit of just a little reggae jamming to pass a few minutes, if you know what I mean. So 4:54 p.m. Central Time. Bell STL. I like your name. I think that means St. Louis. I am in the St. Louis area. I am from St. Louis area. My name is Mike. My name is Michael. I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri. No kidding. My name's Michael. I'm from Ferguson, and my wife's birthday is August 9th of all the days in the year. And as if that's not weird enough, my name's Mike. I'm from Ferguson. My wife's birthday is August 9th. I don't know if you know about Mike and Ferguson and August 9th. My dad's name is going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your freaking mind. And then we're going to talk about the Wabash Valley seismic zone. My dad's name. I'm Mike from Ferguson. My wife's birthday is August 9th. My dad's name's Floyd George. Boom! What? Psyop! Now let's go in and talk about the Wabash Valley seismic zone. So here's St. Louis. Here's the New Madrid seismic zone with a 1.7 and a 1.4. And this past week, we saw two different things happen this past week. A rare earthquake near 3.0 struck in Indiana a few miles away from a fracking operation. And a similar sized earthquake struck in Ohio, again next to a pumping operation, oil and gas. Now, the Wabash Valley seismic zone, you can't really see in this particular graphic. I'm going to have to actually open up Google Earth, and you'll be able to see it physically. So let me get Google Earth open and get a screen capture open so you can see it. Here we go. And let me turn off all the gobbledygooks. There's our states. Pick your favorite state, but the area we're talking about is called the Wabash Valley seismic zone, which is on the northeast side of the New Madrid. I'm going to turn off all the borders and all that. Okay. So here's North America as we would normally look at it, and here's the mountain ranges, of course. Now, I'm going to turn something on really quick. The Craton graphic, and just remember where the rusty brownish orangish color is versus the purple. So, in other words, it goes up into Canada following the mountain ranges, goes down through Yellowstone, down through central Colorado following the Continental Divide, down through New Mexico and makes a bend through Texas, right? And then it goes back up into the New Madrid seismic zone. And then it makes a dip down through the south, and then it goes up to the east, right? The orangish color. So remember that, and now look. Starting up here, here's the edge of the Craton, and it goes down across. This is Colorado right here. Let me turn on the borders and labels again. See? Here's Colorado. We go along the middle of the Continental Divide, if you want to call it that, and we go right down and we make a bend through Texas, and we come back up into Arkansas right here. Turn our borders and labels back on. Here's Arkansas. Here's Missouri. So this seismic wave, we just had our big 7 out here out off the coast, right over here on the plate boundary that goes down through California, and the plate boundary goes down this way. But a lot of that energy, the seismic wave that I'm talking about, is going over, and it's bouncing in between here and here right now, as evidenced by the 7 that's there, and the line of earthquakes that's coming in and trying to go down the San Andreas this way. Well, there's also something straight up just going across the edge of the Craton right now. We don't see any breaks over here yet, but that's going to increase because we just jammed a bunch of energy in from this side, vibrating over to the edge of the Craton. This is all getting to the Wabash Valley here in a second. So coming in from the west coast over here, and the wave is going to be going down, directed around and up. Now, back to the Wabash Valley. So Wabash Valley makes a U shape and it goes up into Indiana and Ohio. It's right through here. This is the New Madrid seismic zone here, and you can remember from now on going forward, the New Madrid seismic zone itself is shaped like a lowercase letter N cursive. So it actually makes an N-shaped bend in the plate, and then it goes down into a U shape down here into the south, then up the east coast, and that's that Craton edge that I just told you about. So the Craton edge goes down, around, through Texas, back up over into the New Madrid seismic zone, and around and up the east coast. Now, branching off the New Madrid is this hook. And whenever the wave is coming across, going down, across, and over, some of the energy, like a flowing river reaching a fork in the river, gets directed up into the Wabash Valley seismic zone. And we get an increase that goes all the way across, and you will see, along with the New Madrid seismic zone, similar sized earthquakes strike next to the drill points across the Wabash Valley seismic zone, because this wave is trying path of least resistance to go around the edge of the Craton. And if you give it a few drill points or a few volcano points, so I'll show you the volcanoes here. You give it a few volcano points where Mother Nature has punched up in the past, or you give it a few drill points across this way, the wave will seek out a path of least resistance out and away. And so it looks like this week, we're going to be seeing 5.0 level activity down in Southern California, down by Salton Sea. We're going to be seeing 5.0 level activity, 5.5 activity in Southern California, like a bigger earthquake, so to speak. Then a 5, which is big in its own right, down here in Texas. And then going up into Oklahoma, I'm expecting 4s and a swarm. And then on the New Madrid seismic zone, I'm expecting a 4, a single 4, and a swarm. And then the rest of the activity to go up the East Coast over here. Now, I didn't include the Wabash Valley seismic zone because I'm thinking it's going to be small earthquakes, like 0s, 1s, and 2s, like we saw this past week, striking at the drill points. So it won't be that big of a deal. The big activity, I think, is going to be striking. It's going to go around and over to here on the edge of the Craton. Here's Virginia. I don't even have to have the borders on. I can just look at the mountains now. Okay, there's Virginia. And so we're going to watch right in here. And here's D.C. Washington, D.C. is right there. So our warning's going right there. And if I get it wrong, let's say the 5 that I'm looking for on the East Coast strikes in the Wabash Valley seismic zone. It's not that far. Geophysically speaking, it's not that far. But you'll only feel a 5 in, a few hundred miles, maybe at the most, out from any 5 that would strike in here. So I'm not going to warn the people in Ohio for the 5 that should be striking over here to the east, I think, and I hope I got that right. So Wabash Valley, though, is fed by the wave that's coming across the Craton. And now that you know which way it's coming from, if you see a big disturbance out here, you definitely need to watch as if a storm's going to be grazing on the side of where you're at. You would still need to watch it and keep an eye on it in case let's just say a 5.0 instead of striking Texas strikes Oklahoma or the New Madrid, a rare 5 striking Oklahoma or Missouri. That would indicate that the wave is bypassing southern Texas and just going straight across because it's a big push, and it would be going straight into the New Madrid, and then we get a big break here, and then I would have to talk about watching over in, so not like dominoes, but like a wave spreading across something. And I think that's why it's shaped this way, to top it all off. When you look at the way it's shaped, the way the edge of the Craton itself is shaped, that we get back over here and just compare. And a wave coming in from the northwest off the Juan de Fuca fracture zone, going into the more stable center portion of the plate, and it's going to be directed. It's not just going to go straight across something if it's like a wave in the ocean hitting the shoreline. It wants to go straight across something, but it's going to be directed. And it's been directed and twisted down through here. This looks like a river, doesn't it? But on the Craton diagram, you can see down in Texas. Let me show you. This looks like a river in South Texas, but this is a bulge. All of this is 1,000 feet higher than this. And we rise 1,000 feet from here to here, all the way around it. 1,000 foot rise, 1,000 foot rise, 1,000 foot rise. So this is literally, I would think we could come in at a ground level even maybe and see that there's a rise in the surface topography as we look off into the distance if we can find a place to look from. We'll just look over to the west and see if we can even see it. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. It would look like a rise. You'd see it was like, yeah, you can, yeah, going over off into the distance. You see the trees over on the hilltops. Let's see if we can get a better view of it. You can even see it at a ground level. The general nature of the rise over here beyond that farm. And definitely if we just look off this way. Okay. So whether we pan one way or the other across to the west, I mean, we're going up by 1,000 feet. And that's all the way along it. What does that mean? That means this has been bulged and pushed up by an incoming wave that's come across here for God knows how long. And to top it all off, there's volcanoes in this trajectory, in this general trajectory. Here's Yellowstone, for instance, on the edge of the craton to the north. And down to the south, on the bend at Texas, down here, we've got all the volcanoes down here at the bend of the plate. And going over to the east at each bend in the plate, the bend in Arkansas, the bend in Georgia, and I can confirm right here, all of this, right here, all of this is a giant volcanic field that's not even marked by the Smithsonian. How do I know? I went up in here on the north side, and there's large hexagonal basalt columns sticking out of the ground from ancient volcanoes that are on the north side of this old volcanic field that's here. This right here, here's St. Louis. This is St. Louis, old volcanic field right here. Nobody's even talked about it. Again, you can even come in and look at it. I would think that there's probably, just like down here at Crater of Diamonds, that there's similar here that's just not been discovered. Okay, anyway, at each fold and bend in the plate, and let me show you another example where that happens. Europe. We're going to go all the way over on the opposite side of the planet. Check this out. But they're older. Here's the European craton. And the U.S. craton, we had the bends and folds in the plate that went down through Texas and then over through Arkansas and down through the south. Well, here in Europe, this is Romania. Let me turn on our borders and labels. Right? Bulgaria, Romania, Poland is on the north side. But it's shaped like a backwards S. And at each bend in the plate, we have a volcanic segment. This is Europe now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See how it goes around each fold in the bend in the plate? Now, once we get over here, they don't have it marked, but we have the east and west Eifel volcanic field that makes up this entire area across Germany. And then we carry on. Equidistantly spaced volcanoes all the way down along the folds and bends in the edge of the craton. Look at it. 1, 2, equidistantly spaced. As we get to the folds, it becomes more tightly spaced. But this is proof that there's a wave that's going around something for a long time. And Mother Nature, in the past, used to break from underneath with volcanoes. Now humans have come in, over in Texas, for instance, and on the edge of the craton, and drilled in. Same for over in the Wabash Valley seismic zone. Back to the whole point of getting on here, is that this wave is coming in. It's going to go down. I'm expecting, at the most, for us, and I hope I got this right, Wabash Valley seismic zone this week should be 0s, 1s, and 2s. But over to your east, we should see a significant outbreak on the edge of the craton. But if it flip-flops and it comes to you, I'm going to have to reassess what's going on here. I'm basing this all on things that hasn't happened yet, which is Texas and Oklahoma and the New Madrid seismic zone. I'm looking for all that to move. Southern California, I'm looking for all that to happen. And we have to assume that that's going to happen. I have to assume. You don't have to assume anything. I have to assume that what I'm looking for to happen is going to happen. And if it doesn't, we come back and assess why. A lot going on right now. Oh, one other thing I want to show you that's just a wild thing. I told you I'm Mike from Ferguson and my dad's name's Floyd George, right? I mean, that's weird enough, right? Like, oh, and my wife's birthday is August 9th. But how about what I discovered here in the middle of the United States? That everyone in the world missed forever. Until we found out about what are called bastion forts. Do you guys know what a bastion fort is? A bastion fort? Let me get a window open here, and we're going to search bastion fort tip. There we go. We got pictures. They're all over the place. There's cities that are built a long time ago by, well, here's an example. These are forts, but the shape is a five-sided 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a five-sided pentagonal star shape that's off the tip of most of these old forts. Here's one here. Oh, you really can't see that. That's really small. Let me get a different one open. Here we go. Right, do you see this shape here? The five-sided? Now, here's the weird thing. Remember that shape, because before I show you what I found in the Midwest right here, which is right here, I have to show you the one I found on the West Coast. Remember that shape, because it's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this is the Grand Canyon on the backside of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a match. It's a definitive match. It's a perfect match. Shape, proportion-wise, everything. The only problem is this is 300 miles long from back here to out to the tip. And what's the tip? This is the San Andreas. This is California. The San Andreas comes down right to the tip right here. That's Fraser Park right here at the tip of this. San Andreas is at the tip. The Grand Canyon's on the backside. In the middle tip of it is a giant military base called Edwards Air Force Base. Edwards Air Force Base, and they have this weird thing that's built right in the middle of the whole desert right there at Edwards Air Force Base. That's in the middle tip of it. On the left side, over here, is 29 Palms Military Base and Bombing Range for the Marines right here. And on the right side, proportional, over here, is Area 51 and the nuclear test sites. Here's the nuke sites with all the craters, the underground nuke sites. And here's Area 51. So they got Area 51 built on the right side of this place with the nuke sites. They got 29 Palms Marine Base and Military Bombing Range on the left side. In the tip is a giant military base. On the very tip is the San Andreas, and on the back side, blown out, is the Grand Canyon. And this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided is 300 miles long, and it's built into the West Coast. And there's two more of them that are harder to see over to the east. And I'm going to prove this to you. Here. This is the one that's the most pronounced. The one in the middle is the hardest to see, but I'm going to show it to you. And the one on the right side is you can see it easier. But this one's the most pronounced. This one's the second most pronounced. And this is the third one. All three are 300 miles long. In the tip of this one starts here, goes up, and comes back down here. 300 miles long. Salt Lake City's on the back side of it. It used to be a submerged inland ocean. And what's in the tip? Look. Sierra Army Ammo Depot Bunker Base. The underground bunkers and all that stuff. Up in the tip of this one. Salt Lake City's on the backside. So now the one I just showed you has Area 51 and the nuke sites on one side, 29 Palms Military Base on the other, Edwards Air Force Base and the fault in the San Andreas at the tip of it, and the Grand Canyon blown out on the backside. The second one has Sierra Army Ammo Depot in the tip of it, and then it has the super volcano in the tip of it, right out here, which most people don't even know exists. Right here, this giant oval shape is an ancient caldera for a super volcano with Lake Tahoe and Pyramid Lake on either side. Pyramid Lake is the name of the thing at the tip of this giant pyramidal structure, which, again, I wouldn't think anything of it if the army base wasn't in the tip of it. Salt Lake City's blown out on the backside of it. The third one is the one that seals the deal. You can see it. It's got two craters on the backside. One here, this is the obvious one, and then Yellowstone is the blowout on the backside of it. So blowout here, Grand Canyon. Blowout here, backside of this one is Salt Lake City, and blowout here is literally, that's Lake Yellowstone right there on the backside of this one. All three are 300 miles long. And what's in the tip of this one? Look, not a military base. Something even more troubling than a military base, I would say, actually. is the Apple and Facebook data centers. Apple data center and the Facebook data center here. Apple and Facebook data centers are at the very tip of the third one, with Yellowstone on the back side. Now, those are the three that make up the West Coast. These are ancient structures that are 300 miles long each. Military is involved in the tip of each one, I would say. I mean, the third one is Apple and Facebook. So 1, 2, 3, Grand Canyon, Salt Lake City, Yellowstone. This is an ancient star fort structure, but its total is thousands of miles long and 300 miles to the tip. And it goes back to the mountains. This is ancient, but it's been forgotten or lost. Now look at the one in the Midwest. This one. Let me show you. Here's St. Louis. Let me turn on all our borders and labels. We're oriented in a different direction so you can see this proper facing way that it used to face. St. Louis is here. Kansas City is here. Tulsa, Oklahoma is here. Little Rock, Arkansas is here. And New Madrid, Missouri is right here. The town of New Madrid. Okay, the biggest earthquake in U.S. history on the right side on the back side of this thing. And on the back right side are the Cahokia Mountains, which are right across from St. Louis, right here. So the Cahokia Mounds are on the back side of this thing. It's five-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the middle of it, two things are in the middle. In the middle tip, just like out in California. But it's not a military base. It's Branson, Missouri, where they deliberately built lakes and flooded all this in the middle tip. Now, where's the military involved? The military is involved in the very middle of it, right here at Fort Leonard Wood. Right. Wait, hold on. Fort Leonard Wood is right here. All of this is Fort Leonard Wood for the Army. So we got the military base in the middle of it, like the very middle of it. The middle tip of it, they flooded it on purpose. It's five-sided. It's built into the plate. It's ancient, and it's pointing in a certain direction. It points to the southwest, this way. So let's go see where it points to. I've already done this, but we're just going to measure from and it's 300 miles long, too. Hold on. 312. Each one of them is 300. So the one, 300, 300, 300, 300. Each one's five-sided. They're ancient. The military's involved. They're built in the middle of each one. And this one points in a certain direction. Just making sure that you can see I'm going out through the tip of this. Right? We're going right. Let's make sure we got this perfect. Well, perfect, right? I mean, right through the center. There we go. I mean, I'd say that's pretty close. If it's not perfect, it's almost perfect. Where does it point to? Well, let me show you. It comes out at the weird underwater spot that all the UFO people have talked about for years. I didn't even know about this area until this thing pointed down here. I went and looked this up, and there was this huge debate online about whether or not this was a mistake or underwater bathymetric measurements that have gone wrong or whatever. And then they came out and redid the measurements, and they found more of them, not less. And they're 200 to 300 feet high. The problem is this is 5,000 feet down in the ocean. Okay. So this points like an arrow straight to the weird site of all the places that I didn't even know existed until I looked it up to find out what the info was on it and saw a bunch of UFO people are talking about it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So what's making up these plates? And it's not just the United States. Do you want to see another example overseas? How about the people who supposedly invented the Bastion Fort? The Spanish. The Spanish and the Portuguese, right? Spanish and the Portuguese supposedly invented the quote-unquote Bastion Fort. So you could have a good angle and line of attack for your cannons and your arrows, right? Okay, let's go over to the people who invented the Bastion Fort. Spain and Portugal. There they are. There's Spain and Portugal, as you're normally used to looking at them, right? Let me turn on the borders and labels so you can see. There we go. Spain, Portugal. Now, keep in mind, Madrid, Spain is right kind of in the middle of Spain, if you want to think of it like that. Now, I'm going to turn off the borders and labels. And we're going to do something. Watch this. Wow. Wow. Well, do you see it? Now, this isn't from farming. These are mountains. Let me show you. So we go from farm fields basin up to 2,000, 3,000 foot high on either side. It's ancient, but this itself, now this is bigger than the one out in California, but it's the same shape as the one in California. This one's double the size. It's 600 miles, 550 to 6, depending on where you measure from. Now, look at this. Here, on this side, is Gibraltar, the Rock of Gibraltar. And on this side, it matches. They just don't tell you over here in Portugal. And clearly, and this side too is mountains. That goes down to basin. So you can't say it's from farming or that they've deliberately sculpted that. These are mountains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a giant 5-sided ancient bastion fort from the people who supposedly invented city-sized bastion forts. But much older. Now watch. This is where your mind's going to explode at this point. This is like the star on a Christmas tree. Look. This is all of the world. There's Africa. Here's all of Asia. Here's the United States. Look at Asia. And look at India. And look at Russia. Here's China. Here's India. Here's Russia. See that? Okay, India matches Russia. And Saudi Arabia here matches the Arctic Circle with its fracture zone perfectly. They're mirrors of each other. Do you see that? One's submerged out in the Arctic. This is Saudi Arabia on the left side, or the west side, left side. We're not looking west, but left side is Saudi Arabia, and corresponding perfectly, directly across, is the exact same shape out in the Arctic. Now wait a second. India matches Russia. Saudi Arabia matches the Arctic. Look at Scandinavia. Scandinavia matches Turkey, and they both have inland bodies of water next to them. Then, this is where the mind blower really happens. Italy matches UK. Italy, UK. Both go in the same direction, too. And then you have Sardinia on one side and Ireland on the other. And then out at the tip, there's our 5-sided star fort, like a Christmas tree. But look how big it is. It's a giant pyramid, matching perfectly. Boom, 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 boom. Now, wait. Let's go down to the South Pole. Watch this. I'm using my version of Earthquake 3D here first to show it to you, but now remember the bastion fort shape, the 5-sided? Look, outside edge of Antarctica itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go over to Google to show you, but this is, now, you're not going to believe me when I tell you this, so I'm going to go measure it for you to show you. From back here on the back edge of the furthest point of the plate boundary, out here to the tip, up here in the Indian Ocean, it's 5-sided. There is no disputing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same bastion fort shape that I just showed you in Missouri. Here. Antarctica. Down south. Now let's go look here on Google Earth. There it is. It's even on Google Earth. You can see. Okay. So from back here on the backside, through the South Pole directly, this is the actual South Pole here where it all comes together into a fine point. That's the South Pole. If you measure from the back, like it's a giant compass point, and you go through the South Pole, and look where it goes. It goes right out to the tip of the plate. The distance is a mind blower, though. the distance from back here to the tip. And I'm going to measure it to prove it to you because I'm not just going to tell you. Here's the plate boundary, and we zoom in on it, and you see they brought a bunch of ships out here and done a lot of imaging on this volcano in the middle of the tip of the back point of the plate boundary. And New Madrid on the south side, and right here on the north side are the Cahokia Mounds. Right here. This is the Cahokia Mound State Park. These are the largest mounds. Look, made out of brick. They didn't fall over in any of the earthquakes. Yes. So I'll tell you what do you think about all that? 5-sided ancient plates directing wireless power of some kind through the plates. Earthquakes at the tips of these. A chamber below the Euphrates River that drives up and releases them. Now we know why they flooded everywhere, right? Like, starting to catch on what's going on. I don't like this one bit. It's getting a little supernatural, a little freaky. Can we please just be atheist again? Can I go back to being punk rock and just not believe in any of this shit anymore? Please? You can't go back. That's the problem. Once you learn the truth, it's like, oh shit, this is real? Oh man. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it. Press 1 in the chat if you're at least slightly intrigued by what I showed you. Press 2 if you just can't comprehend it or don't want to. Press 3 if you're a skeptic who just hates me and wants me to shut up. Okay. Well, and while you're deciding what you want to say about me, I'm going to go get some music together so everybody will don't like me anymore. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. On Noah doing what he was doing, and they built their own ark. You don't hear about it in the Bible at all, but they did survive. That's how the dark forces, and they all, long story. Some went underground, and that's the underground cities and underground tunnels, and some people believe that that's how they survived. I personally think that they built their own ark, but their own boat to survive. But all the underground tunnels and structures also point towards that maybe, but you would need an oxygen source. I mean, what are they? Do they need oxygen? I mean, but I would think they would need oxygen. That would explain all the bones underground too, stocked and stacked in certain ways, in certain shapes. Yeah. Wild, right? Well, it all ties into this plate shape thing that, again, I know it sounds crazy. These are religious things that we're talking about when it comes to the ancient stuff. But when it comes to the plate shapes and the earthquakes, somebody's got to explain to me what's going on. Because it's all starting to look like there was an ancient civilization that existed a long time ago that was advanced and it got wiped out. And obviously, a lot of the structures got completely destroyed, blown out, and flooded. And you can see that they were flooded by the marks that are on them. But I'm not trying to get too weird on you on the religious stuff, but told me I found ancient Nephilim plates. I was coming out of being an atheist punk rocker 10 years ago. I was just starting to, a fresh Christian starting to believe. So I would have just rolled my eyes at you and been like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you gonna do? What's next? Flat Earth? Oh man, I wouldn't put it past it now, right? Like, it's no Earth. It's going to be Matrix. Whatever it is, I couldn't think of a better group of people to spend it with than you guys here on YouTube. I'll tell you what. Okay, we're done. We're done. I think we're done. Hold on. Let me click this back over. Wait, hold on. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. There we go. I'm having a good time here tonight with you. I hope you're enjoying yourselves as well. We have a big earthquake that struck off the West Coast, and we went down Weird Road. What was that called? Diagonal Alley? We went diagonally, okay? It is. Dutchy Potter, I'm waving my wand. When I wave my magic wand, it's made of hemp. And it says, Expecto Petroleum. I find oil for the oil companies by doing my Expecto Petroleum spell. Okay. I know that is the douchiest joke in the world. Come on, it's a Harry Potter joke. Yes, Yeshua's Lord. Yes, I agree. Yeshua. Jesus. Jesus Christ. Jesus the Christ, my Savior. No exaggeration on that. Look into it, guys. I know it sounds crazy, but don't feel too weird. The world's crazy. Okay, yeah, I see chat's finally catching up. Okay, how many people are in here right now? 3,000 people? So I would guess a majority of you probably like 80s music. Do you like 80s music? 1980s? I could probably get away with live mixing here, an 80s mix for a little bit to kill the time. And then probably what we'll do is we'll shut down the stream at some point. I will hit the off button on the stream as opposed to somebody shutting me off and record a video recapping the events of the day for everybody to see back in the future. But you don't need an explanation on what's happened today. A 7 is struck on the West Coast. We're looking for a 5.5 to strike down south. That's the part that needs to be in a video for people to watch back over the next few days to get the warning. But right now, there's no new addition. There's no new large earthquake that struck in California. We're still just looking at the 7 that struck several hours ago at this point. There was no tsunami, from what I'm hearing. It was a better be safe than sorry warning for the potential of a tsunami, which I've seen that big red banner up on top as opposed to the purple one. Purple is for potential. Again, it might have been, maybe it was a Zoomer at the office today that took out their ear pods finally and woke up. I don't know why they issued that warning when there was no actual detection of a tsunami. But again, it's better safe than sorry. I get it. I'm not going off on them. I'm just saying, like, when you issue a warning that's bright red and you got an option to issue a watch to keep a watch out for it, the warning is going to cause people to think that there is an imminent wave coming that's been detected. But I went to go look to see what's generating this warning. And it's just that one buoy that had a half-inch thing on the actual buoy itself, which, as we know, the buoys shake when an earthquake hits. Nearby, when an earthquake, if a huge earthquake hits, it shakes the actual mooring of the buoy and comes up the actual mooring line and goes into the buoy itself and gets detected as a wave when it's really just the earthquake. I had to learn that by experience. No professionals ever talked about that. That all those buoys that light up, that's not a wave going around the planet. That's the seismic wave going around the planet. The buoys are just picking it up. And they've even issued tsunami warnings based on that, as evidenced today, for instance, which I don't think is wise. But who am I? I'm just the guy who discovered earthquake forecasting. I have no degree. I just unwillingly stumbled into a pattern of earthquakes that nobody wanted to admit exists. It's not the best discovery, guys. It kind of got me in trouble. But speaking of getting in trouble, let's get out of trouble. Let's go jam 80s. I'll be right back.